Okay, what is the halacha if at the end of the meal cakes or cookies are brought? When we talk about meal, that means if somebody washed for bread, netilat yadayim, and made hamutzi. So, as we know, hamutzi covers most of the food that we have during the meal, except if we have dessert. And the question is, what about if cakes or cookies are brought in the end of the meal? Obviously, if it's brought in the middle of the meal and is being eaten with bread, which is not that common, that does not require bikat mezonot. But what about if it is brought at the conclusion of the meal before bikat hamazon? Do we make mezonot or not? Now, according to Sephardim, there is a difference of opinion whether one should make mezonot or not. If the cake or cookie is soft, it is like bread and might not require bikat mezonot. However, our Ashkenazim, our Achenu Ashkenazim hold differently. In most cases, they do make mezonot. So we, the Sephardim, say that if it's soft, does not require a mezonot. And also, especially if it has no sugar or eggs or chocolate or vanilla or all sorts of things that they mix with the flour, if nothing is mixed in the flour and it's soft, that is like a bread. It's another form of the bread made into cakes or cookies, and that also does not require bikat mezonot. It's like having another form of bread in the middle of your seudah, that the hamutzi that you made on the bread would include that as well, would cover it. So no bikat mezonot is required. Now, if it is like bread, then obviously there is no mezonot required. Now, what about if it is dry, like crackers, right, cookies, and there is no sugar is added, right? According to one opinion, it is like bread again. It's a dry bread, and thus requires no bikat mezonot. Now, according to us, the Sephardim, there are three conditions for something that requires bikat mezonot in the middle of seudah. Number one, must be dry, like cracker. Right? That the cookie must be dry, like cracker. Right? And that's one of the conditions. Condition number two is in the flour there is mixture of egg or sugar or chocolate or vanilla or all sorts of things that they mix with the flour, adding more taste to it. That is simply it's more than just the dough, just the flour and water. It's more than that. It could be mixed with apple juice or anything that would make it sweet. This notion of making it sweet makes a big difference according to Sephardim. That's why a Sephardi refrains from getting challah that is mixed with eggs to the extent that it's sweet. And water challah is more preferred than egg challah for us the Sephardim. Now, condition number three is that it has fillings. It has fillings like Oznei Haman, right? Like Haman Tashen. What are the fillings? The fillings could be pistachio, could be almonds, could be dates, could be anything that they put jello, jelly, anything that they put in the cookie, like Ozne Haman, Haman Tashen, it has fillings. So if such a cookie has all these three conditions and is brought to one Seudah, then we do make mezonot on it. At the end of the Seudah, obviously. Now there is another condition that must be met in order for this to be mezonot. As we mentioned, this must be in the form of dessert in the end of the Seudah, and is not being eaten in order to fill you up. If it's being eaten to fill you up, that means that is within your Seudah, it's a substantial part of your meal, filling you up, and thus one is not required to make mezonot. So therefore, what are the examples of such a cookie that has all these three conditions and is eaten as the dessert in the end of the meal? As we mentioned, Haman Tashen, Ozne Haman, and another example is wafers. Wafers are dry, that's condition number 1. Wafers have fillings, condition number 2. And wafers are mixed with sugar in the dough, and its dough flour is mixed with sugar. So if wafer is brought in one's Seudah, then Birkat Mezonot is recited. Now, if it is soft with fillings, like cakes, and it has fillings, then it is a safek. Then a person would put himself in the doubt of whether Birkat Mezonot should be said or not. Right? So according to us, the Sephardim, one should refrain from putting himself in doubt, in halachic doubt or safek. So how can a person help himself or herself not to be in such a situation? He should have in mind at the time of Birkat Hamutzi that the Birkat Hamutzi that is making on the bread is not including that cake or cookie that is being brought in the end of the Seudah. Thus, he will be able to make mezonot in this case, which is soft cake with fillings. He can certainly go ahead and make mezonot at no safek. When there is a safek, when one made hamutzi and he was expecting to have this cake, so that hamutzi would cover that as well and would put him in the situation of safek whether he should make bracha or not. Or another solution would be that at the time of hamutzi one should have in mind, right, to include that cake, right, that this way he should not make mezonot. So again, two solutions. When a person is having soft cake, right, in that case, at the time of hamutzi, he should have in mind, number 1, he should have in mind that this hamutzi would include that cake, or number 2, he should not have in mind that the hamutzi should not cover the cake in order that he should make mezonot. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen. Amen.